Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. This is Sports Buzz and I am Deepika Mehto. Let's quickly bring you the top headlines of the hour. In a historic victory, India clinches Test series against England, going 3-1 up. India beat England in fourth Test by 5 wickets. Shubman Gill, Dhruv Churel concludes the fourth Test in style. Liverpool bags English League Cup title. Manager Jurgen Klopp says this one is the most special one for him. With this, Liverpool clinches their 8th silverware, leading the Premier League points table as well. And Khelo India University Games Ashti Lakshmi are currently underway in Assam. Top scheme athlete Mrinal Chauhan shines in archery. Athletics, volleyball, shooting and other sporting events are at the centre stage on Monday. So those were the top headlines of the hour, and now to bring you the top news of the day. Well, Shubman Gill and Dhruv Churel combined in an unbroken stand of 72 to secure India a 5-wicket victory against England on the penultimate day of the fourth Test in Ranchi. The hosts take an unassailable 3-1 lead in the 5-match series. But the 192-run chase was full of twists and turns as the English spinners engineered a collapse to leave India reeling at 120 for the loss of 5 wickets. Gill, who slammed a half-century, and Churel took India over the line. Here's a report that tells you all about it. It has been an exhilarating fourth Test between India and England that went right down to the wire, and it's the hosts who've emerged as triumphant. India have taken a 3-1 unassailable lead in the 5-match ongoing Test series. But they have been tested to the limits while chasing a modest total of 192 on the fourth day in Ranchi. The English spinners engineered a collapse that left India reeling at 120 for a loss of 5 wickets. Shoaib Bashir claimed 3 wickets. Shubman Gill and Dhruv Churel combined in an unbroken stand of 72 for the 6th wicket to clinch India's victory. Gill slammed a half-century on the penultimate day of the contest. India resumed the day at 40 without a loss, with captain Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal in top gear. But the England spinners opened up the game in the morning session as India slipped to 118 for a loss of 3 wickets at lunch. The visitors' hope gained after momentum when Ravindra Jadeja and Sarfaraz Khan fell off successive balls after lunch. Shoaib Bashir struck not once but twice in the second over after lunch. In the second innings, England were startled by spin twins Ravichandran Ashwin and Kuldeep Yadav. The duo combined to rout England and put India on the course for a series-clinching victory. Off-spinner Ashwin and left-arm wrist spinner Kuldeep shared 9 wickets to bundle out England for 145. Ashwin took 5 wickets while Kuldeep pitched in with 4 wickets. In this process, Ashwin surpassed Anil Kumble's record of 350 Test wickets for India. Ashwin also equalled Kumble's 35 5-wicket hauls in Test cricket. The 5th and final Test is scheduled to take place on the 7th of March in Dharamshala. Sports Desk, DD India. And now to discuss more on this, I'm joined by Naran Singh, who's joining us from the newsroom. Naran, when we talk about the player of the match today, it is Dhruv Churel. This ultimate development scripts a new dawn for the Indian Test side, specifically when we talk about, isn't it?
Definitely, when the kind of such players comes and when they perform and when they play, it shows that the Indian cricket is in the right direction. If we talk about Dhruv Churel, the kind of inning he's played in the first inning, the 90 runs he played in the first inning, that we can say that a match-winning or match-saving innings played by the Dhruv Churel, and the partnership of 76 runs that he played with bowler Kuldeep Yadav, that was of the immense importance for this match and to show the prowess of the Indian team in the Indian conditions. So all in all, this shows that we have a great bench strength, and also kudos to selectors when the selectors and the BCCI are giving an opportunity to young players. If you take apart from Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin and Rohit Sharma, all players, all batsmen are, you take they are belongs to the gen next of the Indian team. If you take at the top, you have Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill and down the order, if you take a look, the way Dhruv Jurel played and Sarfaraz Khan also showed the glimpse of his talent in the previous test match. And also they have given also the chance to players like Rajat Patidar, who are inching towards their 30s. So all in all, the selectors also showed maturity while selecting the teams, because if a team like India plays in the absence of the modern day great Virat Kohli and winning a series against the formidable opponents like England, if you take a look the history of the England under the baseball era, it started in May 2022 when the combo of Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes combined and they played the baseball cricket, the attacking and fearless cricket. And in the baseball era, they played 7 test series and they won 4 and 3 ended in draw. This shows that how India has tamed the baseball, which was looking like that no team can play against this team, England team, because we have seen in the past they have dominated each and every side. But finally, also kudos to England, the kind of cricket they played, because it was an entertaining test series and it will help a lot to save the test, we can say test cricket.
But once again, this is bring the baseball concept under the lens for criticism only.
And definitely, if you talk about baseball cricket, we can say that here in Indian conditions, you can go for the baseball. Basically, if we take a look the whole series, we take a look when the Yashasvi Jaiswal played 2 double hundreds and dominated the England's baseball with his jazz ball. We can say that in Indian condition, we have to play according to the pitch, according to the situation. And after that, even the English players also saying that, the former English players saying that every time you can't go for the baseball, because actually sometimes it comes the common sense ball. According to the condition, if you have 30-40 overs left, 2 sessions are left and you need 40-50 runs, you can't go for baseball in such conditions, because the track is, we saw basically this track, it deteriorated day by day and it was impossible to play some spinners in this condition. The way, if we talk about England side, their young spinner Bashir and Tom Hartley, the kind of maturity they showed at this stage, also we should commend them. We should also praise the England team for performing such a entertaining cricket here, because in the past we saw that whenever any visiting side is coming to India, we were witnessing the lopsided matches. But this time, this England side definitely showed that
right,
yeah, they have the potential and they can also compete in such condition. But finally, India prevailed and they won the series, and 1 match is left in Dharamshala that will start on March 7.
All right, thank you so much, Naran, for joining us and bringing us the rounded perspective on the India versus England Test match series. On to soccer. Liverpool lifted Carabao Cup on Sunday, defeating Chelsea by 1-0 in the dying moments of the game. Now, it was the 3rd cup victory for Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool over Chelsea in 2 years.
English soccer club Liverpool clinched their record-extending 10th English League Cup trophy on Sunday, beating Chelsea 1-0 in the final at Wembley. The fierce end-to-end battle saw captain Virgil van Dijk score in extra time to win for Liverpool. Virgil's winner in the 28th minute settled a tense clash that had ended 0-0 in regulation. Both sides had goal ruled out after long VAR checks, with Raheem Sterling's first half effort for Chelsea cancelled. Jackson was offside in the build-up, while Van Dijk's second half header was disallowed for an infringement by Wataru Indo. Both teams also hit the post, Liverpool's Cody Gakpo in the first half and Chelsea's Conor Gallagher in the second. With this trophy, Jurgen Klopp clinched an 8th piece of major silverware at Liverpool and ensured that he will not end his final year at the club empty-handed.
Oh, come on. This, what we see here today, is so exceptional. We might never see again, and not because I'm on the sideline, because these things don't happen in football. I got taught outside that there's an English phrase: you don't win trophies with kids. I didn't know that. Yeah, right in you. It is in my longer careers than mine, but in my more than 20 years, easily the most special trophy I ever won.
Klopp will step down at the end of the season, but victory in the League Cup has set his team on course for an improbable quadruple of trophies. On asked on his pride in winning the final having to rely on some academy players, Klopp said he is very proud on everybody that are involved in the group.
Sometimes I get asked if I'm proud of this, proud of that, proud of that. It's really tricky. I don't know. I wish I could feel pride more often. Just don't do. Tonight it was an overwhelming feeling. I was, oh my God, what's going on here? I was proud on everybody involved in everything here. I was proud of our people for the way they pushed us. I was proud of the staff for creating this kind of atmosphere surrounding where these boys can just do what they are best at. I was proud of our academy. I was proud of my coaches. I was proud of so many things.
Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino, on the other hand, said his players need to feel the pain on giving away the game in the final moments.
They need to feel the pain like us, and of course, they need to realize that we need to work more, we need to do better things, we need to improve, and to compete in this level, again, a team that is in the last 5, 6, 7 years is competing for big things. It's about to arrive here first and then feel, what it means to play for a big trophy.
It was the third cup victory for Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool over Chelsea in 2 years, the Reds winning the league and FA Cups in 2022 after goalless draw and penalty shootouts. They currently lead the Premier League table and is still in contention for the FA Cup and Europa League.
So Liverpool beat Chelsea to lift England's Football League Cup, ensuring Jurgen Klopp's final year at the Merseyside club that will add at least one more trophy to the Germans' impressive haul. Stuart Smith has more from London.
Liverpool currently lead the title race by 1 point, and both Klopp and Liverpool's attention will be firmly set on this prize, despite Klopp calling Sunday's League Cup victory the most special he's won. The final saw Liverpool without 10 first-team players due to injury, including the star-studded front line of Salah, Nunez and Jota, as well as keeper Alisson and right-back Alexander-Arnold. But Liverpool's youngsters stepped up to the plate, and it's this that pleased the German manager so much. However, it was the senior figure of 32-year-old captain Van Dijk who netted the winner in stoppage time to seal it for Liverpool. Much has also been made of Chelsea's failure to capitalise on Liverpool's inexperienced squad, with Pochettino still unable to get the best out of the hugely expensive but seemingly ill-fitting squad. Pundit and former Manchester United player Gary Neville coined the result a triumph for Klopp's kids against the blue billion-pound bottle jobs. And when a team spends so much so quickly on so many players, this narrative is never far away when results don't match the club's ambitions. For Liverpool, however, this result will undoubtedly spur them on in the title race and their quest to seal another Premier League title to crown the end of Jurgen Klopp's era at the helm. Stuart Smith in London, reporting for DD India.
Staying on soccer, Luka Modric rolled back the years with a sublime late winner against Sevilla as Real Madrid moved 8 points clear at the top of La Liga. With England midfielder Jude Bellingham absent for Real for a third consecutive game, the contest looked to be heading towards a goalless draw. However, Croatia midfielder Modric curled in 7 minutes after his introduction as a substitute. Barcelona is on second place with 57 points, followed by Girona, who's a point further back at third right now. Third place AC Milan continued to lose ground in Serie A title race as they were held to a 1-1 draw by Atalanta. Milan got off to a flying start when forward Rafael Leao broke the deadlock in the 3rd minute, capping a solo run with a stunning shot into the top corner from a tight angle. But Atalanta levelled against the run of play from the spot shortly. Milan are now just 13 points behind leader Inter Milan, who won by 4-0 earlier on Sunday and still have a game in hand. Now, Stefano Pioli's Milan side remains third on 53 points from 26 games, which is 4 points off second-placed Juventus. On to Major League Soccer, Lionel Messi proved to be the hero for Inter Miami once again, netting an equalizer in stoppage time for the Herons in a draw against the LA Galaxy. Messi scored in the 2nd minute of the second half injury time of a pass from Jordi Alba that helped Inter salvage a 1-1 draw after Dejan scored in the 75th minute. From soccer pitches, now let's move on to hockey pitches. Now, the Indian men's hockey team planked Ireland by 4-0 in its final home game of the FIH Pro Hockey League in Rourkela. Nilakanta Sharma, Akashdeep Singh, Gurjant Singh and Jugraj Singh scored the goals for the hosts. And now let's go across to New Delhi, where External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is currently addressing the people.
In the last decade, this change is real, but it is imperfect and it is incomplete. It will continue to unfold, but not always in a linear fashion. While many objective conditions have improved from India's perspective, the struggle for cultural rebalancing has only just begun. To be conducted on a global stage, it must first be progressed at the domestic one. This battle is on. Economically, Bharat's answer is in greater Atmanirbharta. And politically, a more authentic and rooted representation that will contest the propaganda which will favor the compliant and the discredited. Bharat will never shy away from questions, but equally, Bharat has the courage to question the questioners. Second, even as these trends unfold, we have been subjected to decadal shocks. There is a backlash against globalization and an assertion of identity and of autonomy. This is visible, for example, in the politics of the US and of the UK, and it continues to gather steam. It has been vastly aggravated by the trauma that COVID has inflicted on so many societies. And if you add to that the changes in Afghanistan, the fighting in Ukraine, the conflict in West Asia, each has its own lessons. Factor in as well the implications of sharpening big power competition. The world now looks more volatile and uncertain, demanding independent and confident thinking from us. We have seen that already when it came to our energy procurement choices. Bharat chose the interests of its domestic consumers by resisting external pressures. Similarly, by questioning widely prevalent globalization mantras, we stood up for our workforce, we stood up for our SMEs and industry against unfair competition. Third, in such a world, the calculus of national security has understandably become much more complicated. Traditional methods of competing and pressurizing are buttressed by new tools of influence and disruption. Here too, Bharat has pushed back with determination and fortitude. When we were challenged on the LAC with China in the midst of COVID, our rapid and effective counter deployments were the appropriate answer. Not just that, by seeking to rectify the long neglect of the border infrastructure, we have made the defense of the nation much more effective. On the larger stage, when it came to the Indo-Pacific, we held firmly to our decision to establish and take forward the Quad. On the Western Front, the long-standing challenge of cross-border terrorism now elicits more befitting responses. Believe me, Uri and Balakot send their own message. Fourth, economic security is no less demanding, is no less important. The world today confronts the reality of massive over-concentrations created by misplaced globalization. The resulting leveraging, the opaqueness and the distortions are key concerns not only of the international economy, but to global security as well. Unlike the past, Bharat does not accept that openness to the world justifies undermining level playing fields at home. On the contrary, it now seeks to build the deep national strengths where technology progress rests on the foundation of better manufacturing. Our goal is to participate in resilient and reliable global supply chains, especially when it comes to the industries of the future. The digital era, similarly, puts a premium on trust and transparency. there are good reasons why we have been prudent about certain games and apps in recent years. The compulsions of a more intensive decade also require us to prepare more seriously for a global workplace. Upgrading our skills, promoting talent and innovation, making it easier to do business, and supporting national products are all facets of the transformation underway. Fifth, the global South today is strongly aggrieved at the treatment meted out to it. The COVID challenge showed how exposed it was to health vulnerabilities. Thereafter, the Ukraine conflict brought to the forefront its energy and food insecurity. In a world of rising debt, significant inflation, and trade disruptions, it is truly struggling to make ends meet. The regression in SDG progress and the fight for climate justice have become lightning rods. In this dire situation, Bharat serves as a voice of the global South. Equally important, our achievements are a source of motivation. Whether it is the India Stack or the Chandrayaan, the Covaxin or UPI, the global South takes heart from the example of Bharat. I can testify from personal experience how interested the global South is in our socio-economic delivery and good governance practices. Sixth, global conversations now increasingly speak about an emerging multipolarity. The reality, however, is that preaching is not the same as practicing. After all, we also witness the advancement of hierarchical frameworks, unilateral initiatives, and attempts to restrict choices. A multipolar world must necessarily have a multipolar Asia at its center. Bharat will simultaneously pursue both goals since they are closely interlinked. And that pursuit is best done by insisting on mutual sensitivity, mutual respect, and mutual interest. It will insist on adherence to agreements and compliance with international law. Seventh, it is sad but true that multilateralism in the current era stands gridlocked. None of the major challenges of recent years have seen a collective and consensual response. Not just that, it is also a fact that global commons stands neglected and global issues are regularly shortchanged. The natural response is to press the cause of reformed multilateralism, particularly the reform of the UN Security Council. This is a subject of intricate and involved diplomacy, but at the same time must also be highlighted in public forums. The pressure for change is manifest and yet requires enormous effort to be brought to a tangible conclusion. In the meanwhile, our interests are best served by working with the like-minded and the convergent. In this decade alone, we have joined almost 40 different plurilateral groupings in different domains. For the foreseeable future, that apparently is the way forward. Eighth, even as the world changes, we must be cognizant of the reality that the old order coexists with the emerging trends. Managing a long twilight will be a very complex responsibility, and yet it must be one undertaken with the requisite understanding and the dexterity. Bharat perceives the distinction between being non-West and anti-West. It is not our interest that in trading places we end up with a more adverse situation. Finding common ground, even while asserting our own identity, is therefore an essential requirement. Ninth, a world of new balances is coming into being that features a repositioning of the US and the rise of China, and amongst other developments. It is also one of sharper East-West polarization, currently focused on Ukraine, but not necessarily limited to it. At the same time, there is a deeper North-South divide revolving around concerns of development, debt, resources, and equity. We faced the entirety of these complications during our presidency of the G20. In response, we were not only able to achieve consensus, but also produced impactful outcomes on key issues. In doing so against such daunting odds, we were able to demonstrate that the quest to be a Vishwamitra has actually struck a chord with the international community. And finally, 10th, the global debate usually posits nationalism and internationalism as binary choices. Perhaps these are conclusions driven from the experiences of others. Bharat's story is very different. It is one of rejuvenation and resurgence at home, but more contribution and responsibilities abroad. Vaccine Maitri, International Solar Alliance, and a development partnership in 78 nations are proof of our commitment. So, what does all this mean in practical terms when it comes to policy choices? Let's start with a better appreciation of our own history. As we have seen in the last decade, this then encourages us to develop deeper relationships with our immediate neighbors, because we can build on shared interests and attributes. Where the extended neighborhoods, whether it is in Southeast Asia, where we have the Act East policy, or the Gulf, where we have Link West, or the Connect Central Asia, we are reviving long-established linkages and associations. This is creating the basis for initiatives like the IMEC corridor and the I2U2. In the opposite direction, towards the east, a stronger recollection of our maritime history is driving the growth of the Quad and the exploration of the Chennai-Vladivostok corridor. When it comes to tradition, let us not forget that there is a long one when it comes to statecraft in India. These include basic principles of how to engage neighbors and when and in what manner to incentivize and to disincentivize. Unfortunately, the compulsions of vote banks and a rosy-eyed view emanating from ideological predilections led to continuous misreading of some of our neighbors. Today, a more realistic approach that draws on experience ensures that our national security is served much better. The global image of all nations is significantly shaped by their culture. If we are defensive about ours, this naturally extrapolates into how we project ourselves, or indeed how others see us. It is the transformations underway at home that has enabled us to take initiatives such as the International Day of Yoga, the propagation of Ayurveda, or the advocacy of millets. In fact, this very confidence also makes the requests of our communities abroad, including for places of worship, more tenable. International cooperation may be a relatively modern concept, but Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam has existed as an outlook for centuries. Such beliefs have led us to offer vaccines to almost 100 nations while we were still in the midst of vaccinating our own. Believe me, that memory will stay with them for a long time. It is also the driver of more than 600 development projects spread across multiple geographies that have been executed more efficiently due to our improved capacities. In fact, our progress at home has become key to conversations abroad, given that so many partners seek to profit from our example. If we are today a more people-centric polity, that too is very visibly reflected in our foreign policy actions. When COVID happened, our Vande Bharat mission brought back home millions of Indians stranded abroad. When conflicts took place in Ukraine, Sudan, or Israel, our special operations that also involved military assets ensured the safe return of our nationals. Even as a routine, the extensive use of Indian Community Welfare Fund ensures that Indians in need are never abandoned. And on the home front, as some of you may have personally experienced, obtaining passports has become so much easier. The message to our citizens is very clear. We have your back even when you go abroad. Bharat is understandably the source of greater ideas and initiatives. The world has seen that from a range of issues, whether it is solar energy and disaster resilience, to sustainable lifestyle, counter-terrorism, and oceanic welfare. If there is a single example of what has changed, it could be in the handling, it could be seen in the handling of our G20 presidency. By organizing it over 60 cities, we were able to project our enormous diversity to the world. We took up causes which were just and fair, amplifying the voice of the Global South and ensuring the entry of the African Union into the G20. The key outcomes, SDG Action Plan, Digital Public Infrastructure, Green Development Pact, the reform of international financial institutions, the principles of the LIFE initiative or women-led development, all these together brought the international agenda back on track, successfully harmonizing East-West divergences and bridging the North-South divide demonstrated that a Vishwamitra can indeed make a difference. Today, a civilizational state is once again making its presence felt in the Committee of Nations. It brings to bear its particular experiences, outlook, and approach to world affairs. This will have a stabilizing impact on an order that is currently marked by volatility and uncertainty. It will certainly help define the emergence of multipolarity. The international community can see that Bharat means confidence, it means equity, it means responsibility, and it means contribution. Our rise is being welcomed by many, and we must live up to global expectations as we should do to domestic ones in the Amrit Kal. Thank you for your attention.
So those were the live visuals from New Delhi, where India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar clearly stated a 10-point picture of Bharat and the world, which means India and the world. And he talked about India's multilateralism. He talked about India at Quad, India at G20, and India at forefront whenever we talk about any calamity, be it the pandemic or any other thing. So with this, it's a wrap here, but news and updates will continue here on DD India. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching and keep tracking DD India for all the latest news and updates. Thank you so much for joining us right now.